uh, 19 September 2023, we will have our arguments to the International Criminal Court. Considering all others with no problems, we will have the case closed for sure. The entire paycheck satisfied as part of our intellectual effort. As self-defense, we do suffer the aggression at first. If you, for instance, has a rose and in your garden, or a flower that you can hold enough pressure, this flower will die and the soil will remain, but you can seed something, and we see a cactus, because when you will touch this again, this kind of boner thing will be something very uncomfortable to you. It's kind of the stimulation for self-defense. Indeed, if you hold the hot stone, you can blame the stone after got the skin burn or something like this. We'll check that the Brazilian Constitution, when the aggressions happened, has quite clear lines, but all disrespected. And of course, that you can consider that a system unable to understand the whole of the law will consider, act, and operate by moral values and things with more fluid to achieve the rights at the case you have. You can compare the judicial system in USA on UK, for instance, that is based on morality, and the Brazil, that is unable to understand and respect their own law, and that civilization process will skip a lot of levels to achieve the moment of other societies. And by this, Brazil disrespected for sure others constitutions, because it's unable to understand the limits of the law and how relevant is the morality and the values required to ensure the integrity of the right. The corrosive, or the corrosive purpose goes not only at the financial records and considering not only the Brazil but in all other areas with this kind of premise and attitude. The Article 5 of the Brazilian Constitution has the talk about the guarantees, the fundamental guarantees of the individuals and groups. Considering the individual, for instance, the research, and the group, the interest at this research. Guarantee number 5, it's ensured the reply back. The proportion is at the right, not has no other source but the right. If you accepted the proportion, you confirmed my right, and you has the compensation here too. Now we'll take a look, please. Invite you at the court to take a look at the risk report 2023, 3 September, those to the success we achieved since 2014, resisting the indice, the stalk, and the harass from public departments as organized crime with peers linked with all clustered at the body, unable to have a single reliable one this time. And the idea, the risk report is a report the risk in the way we did all this time. So CGQM, which is my name, and I had source and roots on Portugal. Povoa de Varzim has a bank there that I will use to storage my money all legal. Audit evidence bank system. It's a codified value, a workflow. The model is flawless. The governance, risk, and compliance is the eyes with no face. And you will check that the interference by Brazil and peers against the reply and the anti-crime effort indeed sets the organized activity misusing the power, even at state or any other institution, public or corporate, domestic or international. It's a criminal system. And the special victims unit has a new premise or directive, I would say, which is it helped to help. It's quite simple to get. You must help to help. And for sure, this kind of effort help it to help. The guarantee number 5 of the Brazilian Constitution on Article 5 we allow us to request cut out ties with Brazil and peers. First thing of all. The second thing, the claim in loud voice. The crime system repulsive. Then we will request to consider limited reciprocity, because if a system tries the annihilation of someone or group or choking interests or rights, as observed and proved on real time during the entire situation, you will consider the reciprocity limited, but you consider the reciprocity. If they lie all the time, such a misperception about you, your effort and personality, you will have now the right by the Constitution as reply, considering that the case is not presented to the Brazil, unable to understand that they are the offender. If they recognize, they confess it. And in the way we have things, they lie all the time to avoid all circumstances according with the law, considering the limits of the morality and all values we carry since a long time ago, since maybe home, which is the birth of our Western civilization, at least on my sides. We will request and ask the guarantee as reply, which is the right. And this sets a choice that flows by freedom, disrespected not only in USA when you shut the social media, but the entire timeline to construct this right. And you did this by the misuse of state power, crossing the limits of your own jurisdiction, limited at the capacity to understand your own lines as constitution. And the potestas, which is the name of this moral power, sourced on home when you had the pater potestas, which was kind of the government of the house. Previously on Greece, you had this on the economy, which was the oikos nomos, which was the same idea as the rules of the house, how you organize the house. And the reply is valid, and our rights flowing through this as part of the compensation are linked with also equally and totally valid, including the option to tell a lie against the offenders, considering the limit as reciprocity claimed by the Constitution and observing the morality and values to achieve the integrity of the right. At this case, a bill as 38 trillion, projected 39, but you can forgive 1 trillion since you confess all crimes and not receiving the case, but you are all in blazing act. By paradox, you will be horrible situation one more time. Criminal system, as I told you, I don't like none of you. And we observe that the interference by Brazilian peers took lives too, at the combination of all rights and values that was and indeed are choked by the Brazilian peers interference, running as misuse of state and institutional power, motivated only and basically by criminal purpose. Sometimes the body language will be the talk, desperate situation like the, look in your eyes, even on social media, crying for help. And for sure, nobody deserves to be faded by the organized crime. We are using the US restorative justice as a concept at this trial. Risk Report 2022, I will fix. TraceDecember.blogspot.com. UK Grid, American Grid, also under violation that comes since 2014. Considering sports entities as anonymous fans, suggesting things and observing that the interference made indeed will be the trap used in the near future to put our criminal system in the situation they are now. And we will have a request to ensure the Bank of America and the Bank of Portugal set to receive the money, all legal, totally pure right, confirmed by guarantees, and achieving the integrity through the morality as choice, executed by freedom, and the values we carry are on it as self-determination, which implies the institutions Portugal and USA, considering Europe, set to decline and have the conclusion, which implies and drags you all to this case. It's a pandemic crime affected we all, even on Asia or Alaska. And the citizenship European, no tax on crime system. Pandemic crime, I will pay no tax all around. It's a request. Until the system that I'm living got fixed. It implies criminals out of institutions at least. There are no excuse to be there, continue, or had the entry. And we will have some music just to stimulation if you had to do a plea bargain or have to talk with someone, and some questions like the audit, no crimes. Can you ensure no crimes in your life, for instance? Because sometimes you will not have the opportunity to cry for help or express the needs by body language as help, especially if you got doomed by the kind of environment and people you live and got surrounded. The wild data taxa, surreal, not unreal. And strongly the purpose here, paycheck debitors, which got unveiled as criminal offenders not only against the debt, but in all cases misusing the institutional and the state power, committing economic espionage, obstruction of justice, corruption in all ways, which is the premise of all complaints made, and all things you could follow on real time, confirm, and now the ball is with you. The delay for sure can hurt more rights, but more people in danger because the criminals are using institutional and state power inside them both. Have a great night.